The marketing campaign for the final season of Game of Thrones is called For the Throne. After 7 seasons of conflict, betrayal, and death, who will win the Iron Throne and rule Westeros in the end? Daenerys says she was born to rule Westeros. She's a Targaryen, the family that made the Iron Throne and ruled for 300 years. Daenerys spends seasons in the Dothraki Sea and Meereen learning how to be a queen. And in Season 7, she invades Westeros with her dragons and her army. Dany's whole story has been leading up to her taking the throne, so it almost seems too obvious for her to win. The big question in Daenerys' story is, what kind of queen is she? Does she burn all her enemies, or make peace? Is she a tyrant like her father, or will she make the world a better place? Maybe Daenerys will prove herself a worthy queen by not taking the throne. Because in Season 2, Dany has a vision where she reaches for the throne but then turns away and goes beyond the wall, just like in Season 7, when she chooses not to attack the capital and instead goes beyond the wall to fight White Walkers. Daenerys realizes that saving the world is more important than her war for the throne, but saving the world might cost Daenerys her life. According to legend, the White Walkers were defeated before by a warrior who sacrificed his beloved wife. It might be that Jon Snow is this warrior, and that his love Daenerys will die. Daenerys could finally prove herself a worthy queen by giving up the throne and dying to save the realm. But if Daenerys dies, who'll take the throne? In her vision, Daenerys sees Snow on the throne, so maybe Jon Snow will sit the throne. We learned in Season 7 that Jon is the rightful heir to the throne, because he's the son of Prince Rhaegar Targaryen. Jon might not want to be king of Westeros, he didn't want to be king in the north, but he'd likely accept the throne if he saw it as his duty. Jon becoming king would be kind of a fantasy cliché, a hero with a magic sword defeating the Dark Lord and ruling the realm. Will Game of Thrones follow this trope? There are lots of hints in the books that Jon will be king, but this could mean a darker, colder kind of king. There are legends that humans once cooperated with White Walkers, and even married them. Maybe Jon will make peace with the White Walkers by becoming their new Night King, maybe by marrying one. It'd be like how Jon makes peace with the Wildlings after loving Ygritte. There's all sorts of weird stuff in the lore about pacts and Stark blood and zombie men, so some kind of dark self-sacrifice might be Jon's fate. If Jon does become a Night King or something, and Daenerys dies, maybe their child will survive. There are lots of hints in Season 7 about Daenerys and Jon having kids, so maybe their child will sit the throne, a son of ice and fire. So those are the obvious options, either Daenerys or Jon or their child on the throne, with some kind of tragic magic sacrifice. But there are other possibilities. Gendry is the bastard son of King Robert Baratheon. Bastards can't inherit a throne unless they're legitimized, like Ramsay Bolton was. If Gendry was legitimized, he would be Robert's heir, and arguably the rightful king. This bastard boy from Fleabottom could claim the throne of his father. But Gendry is a minor character. He's not a political player, he's a blacksmith, and he doesn't seem to want the throne. At most, he might rule the Stormlands, the home of House Baratheon, but he isn't a very likely king. In Season 1, Sansa Stark wants to be queen. She hopes to marry Prince Joffrey, and that doesn't work out, but she spends the next 6 seasons learning politics from some of the most devious players of the game, like Cersei, Olenna, and Littlefinger. By Season 7, Sansa is a leader herself. She rules Winterfell with the support of the North and the Vale. After being used and abused for so long, Sansa clearly likes to be in charge, and it's hinted that Sansa wants even more power. Sansa has no lawful claim to the Iron Throne, but maybe she could Littlefinger her way in by murder or marriage. There are hints in the books that Sansa might marry Jon or young Griff. It's the whole thing. But the Season 7 finale and Sophie Turner's new tattoo make clear that Sansa is loyal to the Starks. Her home is Winterfell. So Sansa could end up Queen in the North, but the Iron Throne, at least in the show, seems less likely for Sansa. Cersei Lannister now has the throne, but she probably won't last. She can't beat Daenerys and her dragons and Jon and the White Walkers, and the witch Maggie the Frog prophesied that Cersei will be cast down. Cersei says that she'd rather die than surrender, as in Blackwater when she almost committed suicide. Cersei's on a path of self-destruction, and one theory is that she'll try to use wildfire again. Cersei may be killed by her brother-lover, Jaime. Watch out Jaime and Cersei videos for more, but basically Jaime may kill the Mad Queen Cersei, just like he killed the Mad King Aerys years ago. After Jaime killed Aerys, he briefly sat the Iron Throne, so maybe he'll do the same after killing Cersei. The Kingslayer and Queenslayer could be king, if only for a moment, because Jaime might not long outlive Cersei. He says he wants to die in her arms. It'd be cool if Tyrion was king, the despised exiled dwarf on the highest seat in the land. Varys did say that a small man can cast a large shadow. But Tyrion doesn't want to be king. He says he wants to start a vineyard. And the people of Westeros don't want Tyrion. They hate him as a kinslayer, the murderous imp who supposedly killed Joffrey. Tyrion's more suited as an advisor. He could be Hand of the King or of the Queen, or a regent for Dany's child or something. Maybe he'll rule the Lannister castle, Casterly Rock, but Tyrion as king seems unlikely. Maybe Thrones will go full grimdark, and the White Walkers will win. All the characters we love will die and become zombies, and the Night King will sit a cold throne. Game of Thrones is a brutal story, but there is always some hope amidst the darkness. That's why the characters keep fighting. In an interview, author George Martin was asked if his series will end in some horrible apocalypse, and Martin said no. He says the end will be bittersweet, like the end of The Lord of the Rings, where the good guys win, but heroes like Frodo are damaged, and there are still problems, like the scouring of the Shire. Martin says that's the kind of tone he wants for the end of Thrones, a bittersweet victory. So, the Walkers won't win the throne, but there could be a different kind of twist. Part of the point of Game of Thrones is to show the problems with the power structure that the throne represents, because the throne puts madmen and drunkards and psychos in charge of the country. It reduces women into pawns to be traded for titles. It causes wars of succession that burn the realm and hurt the people, and it distracts from the real threat of the White Walkers. In the face of apocalypse, the throne that everyone's fighting for doesn't matter. There are hints that the throne will be destroyed. In Daenerys' vision and in this worldbook art, we see the throne room burned by dragonfire or wildfire. Maybe the throne will be broken and the monarchy will end. Westeros could split into 7 kingdoms again, or try new forms of government like Tyrion suggests. Daenerys lets Meereen choose their own leaders. Maybe breaking the wheel could mean some kind of democracy. The end of the Iron Throne would bring uncertainty and loss, but it would also bring hope for the future, a bittersweet victory, and a dream of spring. Comment below who you think will win the Iron Throne. Thanks for watching, and thanks to the patrons, including Ria McDoodle, Malav Shah, Carlos Grau, Michelle Brown, Kevin Olson, Ian J. Robinson, Gerhard Ackerman, Peter Alex, Trisha Hopkins, Christopher Mason, and Max P. Cheers.